Coffee's good this morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we examine news. And sometimes there's lots of news, sometimes there's not a lot of news, but we always look for good news from our city, state, and country to keep you in touch with what's going on in Mexico. And of course, we also look forward to your comments, questions, ideas, and suggestions so that we can combine all this information and better connect with each other and with our city, Puerto Vallarta, as a community of English-speaking locals. It is a pleasure to see you today because I have all kinds of great news to share. Today is Friday, November 10th, another week. I mean, what happened? Another week just went by, and here we are once again. We have news to share, not many from the news sources, but I have some contextual information about Mexican politics that you may find amusing. And of course, I have great follow-up information about some of the things that we announced yesterday. But first, I want to, as always, welcome each and every one of you to Coffee and Headlines. It is a pleasure to see how you nurture your community and how I get to watch all the connections that you make. Yesterday afternoon, for example, I was walking down the street on Gringo Gulch, and I stumbled upon this lovely couple that just reached out to me, and they're like, we went to Guadalajara because you went to Guadalajara, and we stayed at the same hotel that you mentioned, and we took the bus as you suggested, and it was wonderful. So whenever things like that happen, it just fills me with joy. Every time I learn that you are expanding your comfort level, you are trying new things as you become more rooted to your life here in Puerto Vallarta, whether it is for 6 months or 1 week or forever, it just feels good. It validates what we do here, and I am so thankful for that. Woo! That went on for a while, didn't it? And I was not necessarily intending to wing it or anything, but seriously, it is such a pleasure to see the community you've created. It is really wonderful. So today, as always, we pay special attention to those of you that are watching live for the first time. If that is your case, feel free to let us know with the word new in a comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice welcome. And also, if there's something really important that you wish to share, purum pam pim pam pum, feel free to give us a capital letter Q like Mark has done. Does anyone else start humming the CNH theme randomly throughout the day? Oh, don't get me started, Mark, because it took me forever to get rid of an earworm yesterday, and that could easily become my new earworm for today. I think we're good to go. So let us get started with this very interesting news item. A few weeks ago, we reported that a small park in Colonia Aramara between the IMSS clinic and the municipal market was being remodeled. And this announcement apparently took neighborhood by surprise, as the city did not make any specific mention that they were intervening that park. Now, through this news note, we learned that the park was remodeled by a private foundation called Grupo Crecento. They are a real estate developer, but based on some other community related projects that we've seen, this is a developer with a strong community awareness, which is visible on their website through a series of socially responsible initiatives. So good for them. And if you find yourselves in the Aramara area, stop by and check out this beautiful park. It turned out quite lovely. I look forward to seeing it myself. Now, these four ladies, well, first of all, I did not crop the ones on the edges. That's the way the photograph was served by Vallarta en Línea. These are four women. Oh, you're not even looking at them. There you go. These are four women that are hoping to become Puerto Vallarta's mayor in the next term. Now, it is too soon to get involved in the who are they and whether they would make a good mayor or not. For me, the interesting aspect about this news item is the fact that there is a, how can I explain this? In Mexico, political parties are supposed to have a certain number of women in their polls, their groups of candidates to become a mayor or a governor or whatever. There has to be a certain number of women for gender parity in the political arena. So the reason I find this interesting is because as the deadlines for parties to submit their definitive candidates are approaching, all the parties are kind of getting a little testy because they agreed to this gender parity, and yet there are a number of men that are participating in politics when there should be women participating. Case in point, Pablo Lemus, who wants to become the Movimiento Ciudadano candidate to become the governor of Jalisco, has announced all his intentions and so forth and so on. But somehow the political party failed to remember that they had to also submit the name of a woman. And Pablo Lemos is obviously not a woman. So what I'm trying to tell you here is nothing specific other than the fact that as the dust begins to settle as far as political candidates for governor, for president, for mayors, the parties are struggling with the agreements that they agreed to maintain gender parity through the process. So, from your point of view, you know, it is what it is. As soon as all the definitive candidates are established and identified, I'll be so very happy to offer a more specific analysis of who is the actual candidate. But before we go there, before we get to that moment, I just wanted to give you a sense as to how convoluted the political process can be in Mexico, as I'm sure it is in other countries. With that said, let us jump over to the weather to see what's going on out there. The humane thing to do would be to put the humane AI pin out of its misery. Okay, I can explain this in a second, but first let me tell you, because I read about this morning and I thought, what the hell? It is 29 degrees right now, feels like 32. Humidity is at 70%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 84. Our weather forecast for today. Today we can expect mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a high of 31 and a low of 24. Tomorrow, Saturday, rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 49%, so it might actually rain, a high of 31 and a low of 24. And then on Sunday, Rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 72%, a high of 31, and a low of 24. Now, what on earth is this humane AI business that our snarky weatherman was talking about? Well, I happened to read about this in the New York Times this morning. A company claims to have developed the successor of the cell phone. And it is an actual pin that you wear. Let me put myself on the monitor so I can see what you can see. Okay, imagine that I'm wearing a pin in my boobie. And this pin has a camera and it has a small projector. So somehow you put your hand in front of the pin, and the pin actually starts projecting an image on your hand. So your hand becomes the phone. So if you want to dial something, you would just, push imaginary buttons on your hand, or buttons that are projected with a little laser beam. It sounds sexy, but it's wild technology. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why Snarky Weather was making fun of that. In case you are as geeky about technology as I can be sometimes. Now, moving right along, I have some very exciting updates. Yesterday, I told you about my interest in supporting Ruta Mushi, which is Puerto Vallarta's mobile history museum. I am finding, because I brought this up in conversation, there are a number of people out there that don't even know that Puerto Vallarta has a mobile history museum. And of course, yesterday we announced that we're going to get to see it up close and personal during the meet and greet this coming Thursday, because the bus, which is called Ruta Mushi, is going to be parked outside of Whiskey Kitchen. So we are going to get a chance to see it. But I also announced that I wanted to do some kind of benefits to support this very important nonprofit, because history is very dear to me, and I think it's important to support this. And here it is. It hasn't even been uploaded as an event yet, but we are going to have a repeat of my Day of the Dead presentation on Tuesday, November 28th, and it will serve as a benefit for Ruta Mushi. And it's going to be the usual 300 pesos to attend. I decided to donate my 70% of the total. When you teach something at the Joint Co-working Hotel, they keep 30%, we keep 70%. But the great news is that I spoke with the management at the hotel yesterday, and the hotel has agreed to also donate their 30% for Ruta Mushi on that particular presentation. So anyone that spends 300 pesos to attend the repeat of my Day of the Dead presentation, which sold out when we offered it this past 1st of November, anybody that attends, your money will go completely 100% to the improvement of Ruta Mushi and to support this very important pursuit. Now, how is the Ruta Mushi going to use that money? We will be making very timely announcements about this, because one of the reasons why I chose to support this pursuit is because Ruta Mushi, as a nonprofit, has been very clear with their finances, with their goals, and we are so excited to be working together to bring awareness of this project to more and more people. Last but not least, I was so pleasantly surprised. It so happened that during the Day of the Dead presentation, there were so many people there that some people sitting in the back mentioned to me, it's difficult for us to see the TV monitor from way back here. And I mentioned it to the hotel, and the hotel was very quick to go out there and purchase a pedestal for the TV monitor that we use when we're doing presentations at the hotel. So now it will become even more enjoyable an experience for anyone sitting in the room, because the television monitor is higher and it's easier to see. So I want to thank the Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork for their support of their adult education programs and for having answered to my very little request, which they were happy to oblige. I also learned yesterday, while I was doing my jazz vocalist presentation, which was a lot of fun, by the way. I learned yesterday that the hotel is going to celebrate an important anniversary. I think it's the fourth year this coming February. So there's going to be all kinds of interesting cultural activities going on for a whole week at the hotel. And of course, I'm going to be a part of that, and I'm very excited. Before we go into our comment section, once again, a reminder that we're going to have our meet and greet this coming Thursday, that the Ruta Mushi bus is going to be available for you to enjoy. And you will have the opportunity to meet Carla, who is the woman that handles the project. You'll have the opportunity to explore the city mobile museum. You'll have the opportunity to make a donation there if you choose to. So I'm hoping that you will consider joining us for our fall meet and greet this coming Thursday, November 16, from 6 to 8 p.m. And that's all I have for myself. Let us turn this over to you just to see what everyone out there is up to this morning. I'm looking at a number of good mornings, and that is always great to read. Let's see. Purim pam pum pum, parim pam pam, param pam pim. Oh, that is so funny, because every time I see a wine icon, I'm like, okay, who's serving wine? Kathy, enjoy your wine tasting. I am a wine junkie. Let's see. Ben, welcome back to Puerto Vallarta. I am so happy that your knee replacement surgery went without a hitch. And Ben told me this morning on a private message that he was rushing to the Joint Hotel to purchase tickets for the Day of the Dead presentation. So what a great suggestion. Anybody can go to the hotel anytime and buy the tickets. This time around, it's not for my benefit. It's for the benefit of Ruta Mushi. Let us see what else we have. And speak of the devil, Eric, who owns the Joint Hotel, the Boutique Hotel and Cowork. Eric, you have an amazing staff. Yesterday, I spoke with Alexis, who coordinates all the adult education stuff, who spoke with your general manager, and they quickly were very happy to donate their proceeds to this wonderful pursuit. So thank you very much for your support, Eric. Thank you for getting us a pedestal for the TV. I am so happy about that. And let's see what else we have. Lynn was with us last night, and she's like, she loved the jazz presentation. Thank you very much. Purim pam pum pam, Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? I don't want that as an earworm, but I can see how that could be fun while you're doing some house cleaning. Let's see. Bill, another great contributor to this project, says, I have been by the park in Aramara several times, and it is amazing the work they did there. How wonderful is that? You know, whenever I read that a development company has a strong social consciousness and puts it to good use through a foundation, I think that is super, super awesome. And I have seen several headlines with Grupo Crescento here in Puerto Vallarta, so this is good news. Logan comments, maybe we should have had this private foundation complete the Avenida Medina Asensio improvements between Plaza Caracol and the food park as well. 8 months and counting. Well, Logan, as we announced recently, the improvement of that lateral will continue through most of next year, so we might as well get used to it and medicate accordingly. Let's see what else we have. What? Daniel, how come you've never heard the term earworm? I am so surprised that and happy that you get to learn something new through coffee and headlines. Of course, Daniel, who is my technical consultant for all the gear that we use for streaming the broadcast. He's a professional live streamer in the United States and a good friend to our cluster, and he's donated equipment as well. He's very close to me in this new adventure of putting some good energy in Ruta Mushi, because of the importance of story, of history, of maintaining history, of storytelling, all kinds of things. And I hope we can make some wonderful things happen there. And I know I'm not making much sense and I'm being very vague, but I'm just excited to be able to connect people for a good cause. Let's see. Purim pam pum. The mobile museum was at Cardenas Park at the market. I went in and it focused on Vallarta artists. See, the interesting thing, that's wonderful, John. There are two interesting things to keep in mind here. One is very good and the other one not so much. The good thing is that the museum, the Ruta Mushi bus, changes their exhibitions once a month. So there's always something interesting to discover there. The not so encouraging fact is that the people that run the City Museum bus, which is a private nonprofit, it's not tied to the local government. They have permission from the city to put the bus at Plaza Lázaro Cárdenas or at Marina Vallarta or at Pitillal, the bus goes to different places around the city on a regular schedule. Unfortunately, the vision of some city officials is not very wide. And let's just say that lately the bus is having friction from the city in terms of being able to park in public places. Clearly, the city has either failed to recognize the importance of a history museum, or the museum has failed to convey this importance effectively to the city, or it could be a combination, one way or another. Again, here is a great opportunity to help what I consider is something really important. So I beg for forgiveness. You will hear me talking about Ruta Mushi a lot in the next few days. Please indulge me. Let's see. Michael asks, did I get a haircut? I used my trimmer. Yeah, I was due for a trim. I was starting to get a little Tina Turner up here. And a little Tina Turner. Where the hell is that coming from, Paco? I tell you, a little Tina Turner. Why not? Yes, boom, boom. Let's see what else we have. Pudim pam pum pam pum. I think we've gotten to the end of your comments. The music stand in the TV picture triggered some PTSD from grade school band choir. I love it. Anyhow, I think we are at the end of today. There's a lot of work to do today because I need to get that new event up on Facebook and start making noise about it. But I thank you for opening your ears to the possibility of a better established history museum here in Puerto Vallarta. I very much appreciate the opportunity to have something to do with that, and I want to bring you along. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your ideas and suggestions. And hopefully, I'll see you again tomorrow because we have one more this week. Take care.